Welcome. Happy Tarot Tuesday, my wonderful friends. How are you? How has your week been going? If you've been experiencing reality anything like me, your week has already presented some very interesting plot dialogue. Oh, here we are. Happy Tarot Tuesday, my friends. I'm going to tune in onto Twitch, and then we can get started getting into it. I think this time, I don't know if I'm going to do this from this point onward, but I might actually read our angel card first, because it's kind of, very simple and easy to just kind of go through and get the main resonance of the card. And then I think it might be a little bit easier for us to understand where our tarot card is coming from, because these cards are supposed to coincide with us together to give us further clarity on what we need to be working on this week. So I'm going to try to do something a little bit different today. I just felt divinely inspired to do that. So we're going to start with the angel card this week. So then we can kind of talk simultaneously between how these cards are similar to each other, because this week these cards are scary similar. I just realized this. I didn't even know until I got a glance at it. So hi, happy Tarot Tuesday. I am your host, Mystical McKay. Let's get into it. How has your week been, though? I would really like to know if you're in here and you'd like to comment below how that's all been going. It's been a game changer for me myself, I will say. I'm just gonna ground ourselves in here. It's been very emotionally turbulent, I will say. Which is funny because of our card. Okay. So, oh yeah, Sugar is over here. I forgot to get him ready. Our angel card is the Three of Michael. I'm wearing blue today, and my entire attire is in accordance with our tarot card and angel card, because they both happen to be in blue too. So this is what that looks like. We see Archangel Michael consoling this woman who looks like she's in complete devastation. She looks like she's just having a complete come apart. And she's just in his arms, and he's got these huge angel wings. And behind them, look at behind them, there's this dove. There's a dove, a lone dove, all by itself in the background, just kind of flying, free flying. Weird, right? And it says, release the past. You will grow from this situation. Time heals all wounds. And when we get further into it, through our little booklet, it says, fuck, god damn it, this is painful. This is extremely painful, because I'm really experiencing the midst of this right now in my personal life too, so I don't know if you guys are experiencing the same thing, but holy shit. You will grow from this situation. When challenging events occur, it's important to take time to heal. You do not have to do it alone. Ask your angels, guides, or human friends for assistance. Forgive everyone involved, including yourself, for actions or choices that you may see as having been unkind or an error. Time truly does heal all of these wounds. Ask your angels and guides to help you see the reason for the situation within your life. A new perspective can allow you to see things in a completely different light. Know that you'll become a stronger person over time because of this challenge. An additional meaning of this card is it is a time to release the past, disharmony, and heart conditions. Matters of the heart. So really, really think about that. Archangel Michael is really comforting this woman while she is releasing all of this emotional pain that has been suppressed within herself for who knows how long, and she's maybe been struggling mentally and physically and not feeling well, and she's finally at this point where she's like, I can't take it anymore. She's just having a come apart in his arms, and he's just there lovingly as the loving awareness, there being everything that she needs, not needing her to change her state, her emotional state at all, just allowing her to completely let that aspect of herself take over, which is a hard thing to do. With that being said, then we can do the drum roll onto the main course of the meal, which is the tarot of this week. Something that we need to be very, very mindful of as we progress throughout our day in the week. It's always in the back of my mind now when I do these on Tarot Tuesday, because it's so, so important, and I really do feel like it keeps me aware of my work and how every single present moment is an opportunity for me to, show up and put my 100% and really create something from my own personal power if I choose to do that. But you gotta show up and be 100%. You cannot be in the past. This is our tarot card. The Queen of Swords. Now, take a good look at it. What do you think? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? And why not, while we do this, just kind of look at how fucking similar these are. They both just happen to have two random birds, or one random bird, just floating in the distance. Also, there is like clouds in the background, and they're both sitting down. She's sitting down on a throne. He's like sitting down on a rock, which is still, it's pretty much the same thing, right? And I just find this very, very interesting how similar these are. Like, even the background, there's trees in the background and the scenery. What are the odds? There are none. So, that's how you know it's real. Thank you. I love this too. This is my first time wearing it. And it goes so well because the clouds in the background are very, very potent for the illustrations and the resonance behind what this card means. So I feel just like, I feel connected to these cards. So depending on whatever you saw first, that might be a good glimpse into what is going to show up for you the most throughout this week, maybe, because each single thing in this card has a different symbolism within it. So let's get into somewhat of the general information about this card before we get into the actual illustration of it, okay? So, Queen of Swords. I did some research, and I actually had a really hard time figuring out which zodiac sign that this card belonged to, and also what planet it ruled, because, they coincide with each other. I heard people say that it was it's an air sign. Obviously, the Suit of Swords is always going to be in the element of air. So I already knew it was an air sign, but I didn't know which one. And swords are all about like our thoughts and the way that we communicate and the way that we creatively pursue things with our mind too, and the way that we go about bringing things into manifestation, without using the mind as a tool instead of, a detrimental torture device. Ever thought about that? Give it a try, see what happens. So, the Suit of Swords, and I think someone was either saying that it was Aquarius or Libra. For me, when I intuitively went into this card and I was just, okay, which one resonates with me the most? Honestly, it was more on the spectrum of Libra. And then I think there's also a little bit of Virgo in it because it is in the court of Queens. Queens are all about the divine feminine and our receptivity and the way that it's the divine feminine. There's not it's a very interesting between the swords, because swords are kind of all just about a logic and, you know, seeing things from a very black and white point of view, whereas the divine feminine goes into things from a very intuitive and is really listening to the energy of the room during the conversation, not just what's being said. They're also tuning into the nonverbal communication going on, right? So holy shit, this is a very powerful card, just knowing that. Like, that's the first thing I learned, was that it's a mixture between the Virgo and Libra, which is, Libras are, you know, like these crazy assertive people who are, they know what they want and they know how to get it and they go out and get it. And then Libras have this wonderful ability to relate to people and understand them and see everything from everyone's point of view so that they can come to a very logical solution. And the combination of those is just a very, very powerful being. So the Queen of Swords is a sorcerer, truly. She's a sorcerer. And the number associated with this is the number 3, actually, which I find very, very funny because we also got the 3 of Michael this week. Coincidence? I think not. Of course, it never is. And the planets are obviously in Venus and Mercury. Venus rules the planet of Libra and Taurus sometimes, I think. And Virgo is in the sign of Mercury. And also Gemini is. Okay, as the Suit of Swords, we actually just entered Gemini season, you guys. So a lot of us are going to start feeling like we're just starting to have more mental stimulation happening. Are you feeling it? Like, I've totally, ever since Gemini season started, I went from being like a lazy motherfucker on my bed, taking naps every single day during Taurus season, and then Gemini season hit, and all of a sudden my mind would not shut the fuck up, and I couldn't go to sleep, because I had so many ideas and things that I wanted to do, and so much brain activity. Did anybody else experience this? I want to know. Is the Queen wearing a cloud cloak? Yes, the Queen is wearing a cloud cloak as well. So let's get into the illustration now. I just wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the planets and the astrological signs and the numbers. Illustrations. Here we are. First thing you'll probably see is that there's a woman there. There's a woman, and she's turning. I don't know if it's from you, but for me it looks like she's turning to the right. Like, when you look at the card, she's turning to the right. And she has a very stern facial expression on her face. I don't know if you can see it. Look at her face. Honestly, can I say something? I think that this card is the best representation of who Teal Swan is as a person. Upright, not reversed. Upright. I'm just going to say that. So she's got this somewhat of a stern facial expression, and she's sitting on her throne. And it's decorated, can you see it? That there's a lot of like decoration going on actually on the throne that she's sitting on. There's a face. A face. And then there's like butterflies at the bottom. There's one right there. And then she also is wearing a crown that has butterflies on it as well. So you can tell that she's definitely the queen of transformation. Mental transformation. Turning from the victim mentality and then putting your crown on and remembering that you're a fucking queen. You're not a victim. Yeah. Wow. So much power in this card. So there she is. She's sitting on her throne, and the face represents kind of like her softer side, you know? Her ability to really get into a situation and connect with people emotionally. Not just going into it and, you know, being a bitch and just seeing things from the facts and just being like completely throwing out one aspect and emphasizing another. No, she's got her hand in everything. She's aware of all of these moving components and everyone's opinions and what they think and how they feel, and she's grounded in all of that. She's got her crown on. Like, nobody can make her forget who the hell she is. Right? So she's facing to the right, and you can see that her, is it her left hand? Yeah, her left hand is extended outwards, which is when I did the research, somebody said that it meant that she was receiving something, and then another person said that she was giving out something. Honestly, I feel like the divine feminine is a little bit of both, you know? It's the healthy communication of giving and receiving freely. So I think it's a little bit of both, but do what you will with that information. And her right hand is grasping this sword, and it's sitting straight up, like she's got it resting on her beautiful throne. It's showing her desires. And the swords are a perfect representation of our thoughts, because literally our thoughts can really cut reality, you know? Like with a freaking knife, you're cutting reality depending on what kind of internal thoughts that you are choosing to commit to and believe and consistently think on a daily basis. They can shape your reality. And she's got her mind on the prize. Like, her sword is standing straight upwards. She will only let herself think, believe, and behave in ways that she knows are in alignment with the truth. Not just what she wants to hear or what she thinks other people want to hear, is the truth. The cold, hard, the truth and the facts, without, you still have to have the emotional aspect and the tenderness and the love behind that and the compassion behind it. But she does not beat around the bush. She's here to tell you what the fuck is up, and she's not going to sugarcoat it. Yeah. She's a baddie. Alright, what else do we got around here? So the sword's pointed upwards. It's her desire for the truth in all matters, and you can see that clouds are accumulating behind her from this, almost from the throne, just where her throne goes up, because the sky above her is actually quite clear, but the clouds are accumulating from below in the sky by a very strong wind, and you can see that it's kind of rustling the trees in the background back here too. There's actually a tiny little stream of water in the back too. Nobody else seemed to mention this anywhere. I couldn't get any idea as to what this represented or what it meant from a true tarot expert. But for me, the water always means it's the divine feminine. It's our intuition. It's connecting to the thing that you may have not noticed because it's so far back in your subconscious, but it's still in there, and it's influencing your day-to-day life. It's still there. And the clouds themselves, I think, I don't know. To me, I felt like they represented, when external events try to kind of, influence you or manipulate you in certain ways to make a certain decision or do things, because obviously they're giving you external pressure to make the decision that they want you to make, right? But this baddie is wearing the cloak of the clouds, so she's completely aware of their tricks and the way that they try to manipulate her into feeling obligated to do things that are not in alignment with her highest truth. She's aware of what they're doing, and with that, she's not disrupted. She's like, y'all ain't got shit on me, right? It's decorated in clouds, and it's her ability to adapt without letting the external events disrupt her inner knowing. Right? And then, other than that, honestly, all that's really left to talk about is the little lone bird in the background, which I think has a lot of significance. I've been seeing a lot of stuff. I mean, it's the same thing here. There's literally just one bird flying in the sky. And I've seen so much stuff about birds this week, too. It's super weird. They're, coming up everywhere. And my mom picked up a bird's nest today from the ground and brought it into our house. Why? Because a single bird flies above the sky, representing her preference to be alone in her work. But this is the cause for her stern, kind of harsh facial expression, is because she's probably been in isolation for a little too long. She's she holds herself at such a high standard, and she's so powerful, then sometimes it's hard to meet souls who connect with you on the same level, who are, as powerful as you, and you maybe feel like nobody else can relate to me in this way because of my perspective and just how much I am aware of. Like, I'm sure Teal Swan, that's just got to be how she feels, because I don't know anybody else who is as miraculous as her, and it must be a very lonely feeling to just have all of this information that nobody else really seems to get, So, I don't know, I thought that was very, very interesting. Like, you see on her face that she's just kind of like, ugh. She has a lot of responsibilities, and sometimes maybe she doesn't feel like she gets to just kind of let loose and be free and whimsical. Maybe there's a little bit of that. I don't know. So, with that, for this week, honestly, the theme for this is to develop your own personal authority. Personal authority. Personal responsibility. This woman has done the impossible, and she's taken responsibility for all of her life circumstances leading up to this point, and decided that from this point forward she's going to decide to manifest a different reality for herself. Better said than done, I know, but it is possible. So the key words are honesty. You can see her being very, very, I can just see like someone coming up to her and being like, I have this problem, what is it? And her just being like straight up like, you're destroying yourself, and yeah, blah, blah. Like, I can totally see her just being like, this is my information, do what you will with it. Total Teal Swan vibes. Honesty, independence, criticism, objective perspective, seeing everything from a more further back point of view, having unbiased judgments. Unbiased judgments. Do you know what it takes to have an unbiased judgment? It means you cannot be identified with either of the opinions being presented. You can't have any kind of personal attachment to that idea as a sense of self within you, which a lot of people do. They take it and they think it's who they are, right? So then anytime they go out and they feel like they have to defend this aspect of themselves anytime that the existence of it is threatened, right? And it's the ego. It's a funny little game we play. And it's also very painful. So let's try to cultivate a more unbiased judgment towards things. Direct communication, boundaries, self-empowerment, maturity and receptiveness, being realistic, and letting go of your repressed pain, bringing back some of the vibes from this card of the releasing of all of the garbage that is coming up this week. There's a lot of garbage that's coming up this week for me, and I know it's probably happening to the world collectively. Right now is the time to take out the fucking trash. It always is, but more now than it has been the recent couple of days. Last week was the temperance, we got to celebrate a little bit and kind of just bask in the glory of the highs and lows of life. Now is the time to get back into work. Get back to work. So, this week, embody the energy of Virgo and Libra. Venus and Mercury. Venus is all about love. Venus is the planet of just love and just like, accepting everything, saying yes to everything, welcoming everything, and not, pushing anything away and being like, no, you're bad, I reject you. No. Taking it in as a part of yourself. While as Mercury is all about communication and information coming from here and transferring it to where both sides are understanding what the other person is trying to say. Easier said than done, especially during Mercury retrograde too. But I feel like it's a good challenge for us to really, in this moment, get really clear about what it is we do want. If we could have anything we want, and to become very aware of how maybe external people are trying to manipulate us into making decisions that they want us to make. Becoming aware of how people go about doing that and in what ways, because it's different for everybody. I'm very mindful of that, okay? No fluff. It's time to be direct. If you've got something that you need to say to somebody, just go up and say it. See what happens. Develop independence too. I'm definitely feeling the effects of this. It just seems like a lot of people in my life right now currently are entering very transforming stages in their life where they are, transitioning or moving out finally out of their households, and they're developing, they should be at least, or maybe they're in resistance to developing their own independence a little bit. But it's a very real thing that's going on that you can own if you choose to. Be honest and have good intentions too. Setting boundaries. She is the queen of boundaries. She has developed such a keen sense of self. She knows who she is. Nobody can come up and shake her, because she knows more about herself than anybody else. And she knows of how divinely powerful she is. And nobody can make her do anything she doesn't want to fucking do. She's more aware of that than anything. And she uses that to her advantage. So she's like, things are going to go how I'd like them to go. And if they don't, then I just won't participate. And that's going to be your loss too. So it's all about, really, it's self-empowerment. It's coming into your own power. And it's a very, in the long term, it's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful card. In the midst of it, it's probably very, very painful, because what this really means is you're probably discovering that there's certain things in your life that you're doing that are not in alignment with your personal truth. That's kind of the reality of this card, honestly, is examining your reality and being like, I've put myself here because of, X, Y, and Z, all these things that I've allowed myself to believe about reality in the world has led me to here. So what do I do now, right? It can be a very, it's that feeling of, work, right? It's the work. I gotta do some work. But it's good work. And in the long term, you will come out looking like this badass bitch if you do the work. So do it. Do it this week. If it comes up, if you just start bawling your eyes out all of a sudden this week, just sit down and see just how intense you can let yourself feel that feeling. See where it takes you. Have expectations for how you want to be treated. That's all really about recognizing what you will and will not put up with when people either treat you verbally abusively, maybe, or they just show, maybe they have certain behaviors that show that they don't really respect your time or your work and how much dedication you put into things. Maybe you not feel like you are being just recognized for your own value, right? Sometimes you can feel this way. And there's a lot of motherly, this is a mother, totally, when you think about this, you think about when I think, I'm so glad I didn't have a Virgo mom. Let me just tell you, if I had a Virgo mom, I would have lost my mind, because they're bossy. They're bossy. They'll tell you they'll make you do work. They'll make you do a lot of things. And sometimes they're just like, chop, chop, just do it. And that can be in the reverse of, the very shadow aspect of Virgo is being very, very controlling. Super controlling. Feeling like you have to control all of these external circumstances in order for life to go the way you want it to go. That is the opposite of what this bitch is doing. The exact opposite. She's in the flow of the universe. She's not trying to go against the universe. She's tuning into what the universe is energetically. She's receiving information from the universe, and then she's making actions and choices according to that, so that she's in the flow and she's not butting heads with fate all the time, because that's such an exhausting thing. But that is definitely a very shadowy aspect of the Virgo sign, so we need to be very mindful of those aspects in ourselves if we have them. Our card is upright though, so for the most part we should just be, maybe going through some hard truths and discovering a lot of, that's what it is. It's accepting, acknowledging, coming to terms, and making choices based off of this new truth that you've discovered about yourself, right? Because if you don't make any changes after you've discovered, I'm doing this thing that's the exact opposite of what I know is best for me, you've created a gap between where you need to be and where you are. And that is the most painful place in human existence. It really is. Suffering at its finest. Being one place and thinking, I should be here. Yeah. So, with that, stand up for what is true. This is a time, this can be a very fun time too, to just maybe sit down and write down all of the things that are personal truths for you, very strong personal truths for you. You may discover something that you've never had before, and you're like, wow, I really do value, this certain thing in certain relationships and all of this, and discovering, yourself. It's self-discovery. This is a card of self-discovery. You have to, in order to live a life of authenticity, you have to first get to know yourself a little bit. You gotta say, hi, how are you? You seem pretty angry. What are you angry about? And really start building a relationship with yourself as if you were a complete separate entity. You can do that. You can have conversations with aspects of your own self, and really, that's how you truly get to know yourself. Not by taking a bunch of information from other people all the time and being like, oh, you're telling me this, so I'm just going to adopt it as true. That's how to be a consumer and to be literally programmed to do everything for you. That is not how to live a life of authenticity and in truth and to feel empowered by any means. Someone is living your life. They're pulling the strings, and you're just a little puppet. Nah, fam, not today. So, that's the overall general meaning of this card. So I'm going to get into the specifics of it with the love reading and the career reading and the money reading and the health reading, how this could possibly affect you throughout this week if it happens to be in a certain section in your life, so that you can better understand how this might come up. I feel like for the most part, this might be more representative in people's love life. Or maybe it's an interesting thing. They're Virgo and Libra. Okay, so I really think the emphasis for this week is to acknowledge and observe our relationships between our loved ones, our family, the way you communicate with your family and other loved ones, not just your partner, but everyone that you consider to be someone that you take as a part of yourself, And so this is a kind of a little bit of a longer love reading. If you're coupled, you could potentially, be with somebody who embodies these traits. If that's the case, that's pretty freaking awesome. Congratulations. That is a person who is really dedicated to the truth, and nothing will get in the way of them finding that. And when that is their main prerogative, that is where true freedom exists. And that is where true joy can exist, true peace and relaxation, because you're not fighting yourself. You're not fighting the present moment anymore. You're in bliss with reality. You don't have to run away from reality all the time anymore, because it's not a scary place anymore. Because you're willing to accept the truth. And make something out of it. Become the alchemist. Be the antidote. Turn the shit into gold. Ha! Yes. Amazing. Okay. If that is the case, then consider yourself lucky. Or you could be the person in your relationship who is developing these qualities as well. Either way, congratulations. This might be someone who's not overly affectionate in public. You know, they're not really one to just be all like ooey gooshy in front of everybody, but they're still very loyal and loving, and they show it in ways that are more potent than you could just by blurting out to the world, you know. Who cares? It shows how you truly like treat me without, when we're not in the company of all of these other people, is a true reflection of how you respect me. Yeah, bitch. Okay, sorry, I keep swearing. I find that swearing is a sentence enhancer. I find it very empowering, and I don't use it as a way to, just kind of want to clarify this. I feel like I'm becoming the Queen of Swords right now as I am just expressing this truth right now to you, so I feel like it depends on how you use it. Obviously, you can use any kind of word in a very detrimental way, but I personally choose to use sentence enhancers in a very empowering way, and every time I use them, I feel amazing. So, I encourage you to do the same because it is very powerful. Mwah. Anyway. This isn't a person who's going to be overly affectionate, but they're going to show you how much they love you in so many other ways just by really showing you that they have your best interest as a part of their own. They're going to take care of you. They're never going to make you do something that they know is not what's best for you, or make you feel like you need to in order to make them happy. Ugh. No. There's none of that going on. Aw, she's loyal, she's loving, and she's kind, and she's witty. This is like, the characteristics of this person is so amazing because she's super, super smart. You have to be incredibly intelligent to reach the amount of hierarchy that she has. She's a queen. She's so smart. She's got a lot of shit figured out, but she's also has a wonderful sense of humor because of it, because she's so wise from all the circumstances and things all the bullshit she's had to deal with. She just laughs at it now because she's just like, oh my gosh, what is it this time, you know? There's the sense of, yes, this is serious, but at the same time, there's this little bit of like, nothing really serious is going on here. Hi guys, thank you for being here. So, if you're in a relationship and this pulls up and you're not feeling all of that good stuff, then that might mean that you could be feeling, or maybe your partner's feeling like you miss being single. Kind of like having the freedom of just like, you know, not really having to consider someone else's interests as your own, because you just want to, you know, go out and have an adventure on your own and explore and meet other new people and maybe have other relationships that aren't super, you know, committed or anything, which is nothing wrong with that. You may discover that this week. You may have come to a new truth in yourself that, hey, I don't even think I really want to be in a relationship right now, but I am. So I kind of need to find the best way to go about, you know, breaking those ties so that I can healthfully take on this new truth that I have found in myself. Which is completely okay. But if you're single, if you've been single, then maybe, this is another thing, whether you're single or not, there may be a strong female presence in your life. It doesn't have to be a lover. It could be your mom. It could be a stepmom. It could just be an older... There's a significance role this week in there being a older woman either giving you some support or maybe some advice, some criticism, some insight, just some kind of, you know, information, because she's very, very wise. She has a lot of experience, and you would be very foolish to, you know, not take some of the information given to you as just, you know, something to put in your little back pocket just in case, you know, because she's very, very important, and she wouldn't be saying it if it was just a bunch of fluff. You know, she always says things when she feels they need to be said. That's the vibe of this card. So there might be some old lady who comes up to you today and tells you some crazy stuff, and you're just like, all right, crazy lady, but watch. It'll be like, it'll come back. It'll come back. And it might be your mother. It might be someone else's mother. But anyway, other than that, if they give you a lecture, just try to be receptive yourself. Try to embody the characteristics of her. She knows when it's time to speak, and she knows when it's time to be quiet and to listen to the needs of others. She's very, very receptive. So you'll know. Just follow your intuition. Anyway, back to the single, if you're a single Pringle. You might meet or connect with someone who has these qualities this week. Or maybe you feel like you yourself are just discovering this inner queen inside yourself, this goddess, this inner sorcerer within yourself that is discovering, hey, I don't have to live in the shackles of my horrible past and my mentality. I can rise above this, but I have to first become very, very, very aware of where I am now in order to take the first step towards a better future. That is queen shit, you guys. Literally. This is Teal Swan sitting here in my hands right here. Ugh, what a queen. Okay, so if you do feel like you are coming into this, and this is you, this is a representation, you really do feel like, I feel like this queen is who I'm becoming this week, then just know that you've really been through it. You've gone through some really tough shit. And because of it, it has made you so wise. It has made you so much stronger. And it may have been a very challenging circumstance that has caused you a lot of emotional and mental strain and stress, and maybe even you'd question why the fuck that shit had to happen to you anyway, but now maybe you're at a point where you can finally look back and be kind of like, holy crap, all of that needed to happen to show me something that needed to be known. I had to become aware of something, and all of these external circumstances were trying to make me aware of something going on inside of myself. Ha! Crazy! Right? So, another congratulations, even if you're single, you are coming into your power, and whenever that happens, you're creating space for you to attract other people of like minds. Just give it a moment. The universe is going to test you, though. It's going to test your boundaries and see just how in tuned you are. When you can notice and feel when something's not quite right. Something isn't quite right going on in here. And if you will speak up about it. If you will stand up to what's not being said. You know, it's harder said than done. To be that one person, it's easier to just be quiet when you know there's some kind of injustice or something not quite right going on. You're just kind of like, this is the bitch who stands up and says, there's a problem here, and I don't have any issue with being the one to point it out until it gets fixed. Such a queen, right? Okay. You are her. You are her. Whether you are her or you aren't her, you are her. You are a god, and you are a goddess. Some people even said that she kind of embodies, or was that a different? No, that was a completely different tarot card. Never mind. I'm not even going to say that because that's just confusing. Complete divine feminine energy in this. Okay? You may be loving the single life too. You might be understanding, you're like, you know what? I don't even need to be with somebody. Why? This is a time in my life where I don't even really know exactly what it is I want in a fucking relationship anyway. So why would I get into one? I'm here to discover these needs and these wants in myself. Your whole 20s honestly should just be a time for you to explore. Explore your interests and your values and your dislikes and all the things that make you who you are. Not just going out and projecting all of your crap onto other people and them doing the same onto you because you guys haven't done any of the inner work. You don't even know who you are, and you just commit to this person as if a complete stranger, and you guys don't know anything about the complexity of actual relationships and true intimacy and connection. And they think they can last. Funny humans. Okay, so with that, if you found this new sense of independence, just go for it. Like, ask yourself, how can I have an adventure? What's the best way for me to explore and go out and discover something new about myself? How beautiful. Yeah, it's just that feeling of like, I'm not ready to give this up. I'm in this space where I'm really discovering something, and if I were to get in a relationship, that would get in the way of that. It would be a block from this thing that I'm trying to discover in myself. So just keep doing you, boo. Love yourself. Fall in love with yourself. I don't need no bitch. I don't need no man. Are you kidding me? Please. Money and career. This is where, that's my bitch. You may all of a sudden receive some kind of like support or assistance or some nice constructive helpful criticism from an older either family member who's a woman in your circle, or maybe it is your mother, or maybe it's just like an older friend of yours that you enjoy the company of. It could be anything. Just be mindful that there might be a strong older female presence that really, just for some reason, has something to say to you that could open your mind instantly. Like, they could just say one thing that could completely shift your perspective right there. It's happened. It happens. It's crazy how some people know how to do it too. Some people are like really good at being able to make people question their own beliefs without even really acting like they do it. They just ask certain questions with them, and then they're like, whoa. So be prepared for that. You will do well by leading example. If you ever get any kind of advice today from someone, obviously check in with your gut to see how it feels with you. But if you feel triggered by it, there's a difference between if someone's giving you criticism and you're kind of like, it doesn't make any sense, like, you're wrong. And then there's a difference between that and being like, no, this is, I have resistance to this because it's not what I believe and it's different from, what I'm thinking. So try to loosen up from that rigidity. Really think about the sword and how our thoughts can literally change our entire reality, like just slicing the fabric of reality with whatever kind of way you choose to really think about yourself and the world around you and life in general. Whew! It changes quite drastically. So overall, I think it's pretty good. You're going to be maybe receiving some unexpected support from somebody, and somebody who can offer you insight that's going to help you have more fun in your career, maybe in your job, or find a new thing that you really enjoy doing. And they could be supporting you financially as well in certain aspects. That might be fun. Right? Communication should be really good in this reading, which is good. Since Mercury is in retrograde, I think this is a really awesome card, honestly, to get in Mercury retrograde, which is why I don't really feel like I'm having any kind of communication barriers this week. I did last week, though, which is super funny. Not so much this week, though, yet. We'll see. It's all about travel, too, and just things transitioning, honestly, going from one place to another. That's what the planet Mercury and Gemini, which is the season we're in right now, is all about. So with that being in Mercury retrograde, it's just an interesting time for all of us, I think. So just hold on. Just know that you'll probably be supported in your career and financially this week. So try not to let it, if you have any stress about that, just kind of be like, you know what? I'm just going to let it go. Let it go this week, Health. Very, very important. If you are experiencing any kind of physical symptoms or you're just not feeling well or feeling off, then that is a clear sign. Clear sign. This right here is saying very, very bluntly, as the Virgo women do, is you have repressed emotions. And they're causing you health issues. Thank you for the cheers. They're causing you a lot of health issues because you're not dealing with it. You're shoving it down. You're shoving it and shoving it and shoving it. You're feeling all these things. And maybe you're feeling it in the moment, but you're not really allowing yourself to get into the real shit, you know? Really dig it up. All of it. Get to the root of it, you know? You're just kind of feeling the annoying, lingering weeds that poke up from the surface, you know? No. If you want to get better, if you want to live, if you don't want to suffer and die early, it's time to work on this in whatever way you can. Possibly. There's always a way that you can. This is the card of really opening your mind to a whole new possibility of thinking, getting out of the box that you've trapped yourself in. And realizing that you put yourself in that box that whole time. And being like, wow. We're so powerful that we can choose to enslave ourselves if we so wish. But we don't have to. It's just super, super awesome. So with our health, our bodies are our vehicles. Nothing more. Our bodies are literally just the sim character that we created, you know, on our laptop to say, oh, I'm going to give him this kind of hair. I'm going to give him this disease. No, we didn't say that we were going to give anyone any kind of disease. The disease is a manifestation of us not allowing our spirit to fully express itself through us. Oops. It's like you're plugging holes and then like all of this accumulation of stuff just keeps like you remember in that SpongeBob episode where he got the suds and Patrick was like, I know what to do. We'll just fill all your holes and like shove all this. I didn't even know what they were. They were like wine corks or something like that. They're like, we'll just fill up all of your holes so none of the goop can come out anymore. And you remember how that went. I know you millennials, some of you, that's the one thing we have in common, okay? We know SpongeBob. We are the disease, yes. So, same thing. It's easier said than done. It's coming to terms with hard truths in yourself and discovering just how much you currently aren't living in alignment with what you know is best for yourself. And accepting that that's just where you are right now. I'm in a space right now where I don't feel healthy and I don't feel like I'm taking good. Really own it. Don't have like shame for it. Accept, almost in a way be like, yes, this is me right now. Like, right? Like just kind of like owning it and being like, because the only way you can shift it is by making it okay. You can never shift how you feel. And that is what this queen has learned through her trials and tribulations of all of the things that she's, you know, the really hard challenges that she's had to go through to finally understand that she is in complete control. It's all up to her and how she chooses to either respond or knee-jerk react to life. There's a complete difference between the two, okay? Absolutely. Listen to your body always tells you. Your body is the smartest thing on this planet Earth. Literally. Your vehicle. It can't betray you. Your body is never betraying you. It wants the best for you. And it does so much that it gets sick to let you know that something's not right. So, listen to it. Maybe get into meditation. If I honestly need to do this, okay? This week I'm coming to a personal truth in myself with my health, actually. I'll share it with you if you'd like. It's a nasty story a little bit, but in 2019 I was in a car accident, and the only injury I seemed to have from this potentially fatal car accident actually was the fact that I ended up bruising my toenail so much that it ended up falling off a couple days later. And I was just like, all right, whatever. It'll just grow back on its own. Like that, right? And I didn't even think about it. I didn't even get into the thought. I was just like, I'll just grow another toenail, right? Not quite. I also did some research recently on what the spiritual meaning of losing your big toenail means, and it actually said that it represents a time in your life when you actually lost connection to your inner guidance and your own divine inner wisdom, which makes so much sense because that's exactly what was going on with me during that time in 2019. But anyway, that toenail ended up getting infected. And so I'm currently, for 2 years, I've been growing a not healthy toenail on my left foot. And I started trying to take medication for it that would apparently, make it magically heal the nail. And it's just some kind of prescribed medication to me. And it ended up, I don't know, it was like messing up my digestive system a little bit. So I was like, I know that whatever happened to me is a reflection of something that happened in me. And I know I can freaking heal my toenail if I just figure out what that represents. What is it in me that caused that to happen, and really get to the root of it, the root of, and then I think you can do it. But that's just one of my personal truths. I do have a lot of things that I know that I haven't been really taking care of, because it's quite obvious that it hasn't been getting better. It's been 2 years and the nail looks like garbage. So hopefully I can just heal that crap. Maybe I have to get it surgically removed and then start all over. But even if I do that, then I can just start freshly new set of beliefs, new self-love, and my nail will grow again. Anyway, so yeah, just an example. Other than that, in spirituality, listen to your gut. Listen to your gut. With this being the swords, obviously there's a lot of, we're looking at the facts, we're looking at all of the logical components, and we're being very realistic about the situation and making plans that are going to help us be very successful in our future, so we don't just blindly trust in the universe when there's certain things that do need a little bit of structure. With that, though, we can't just go completely on the opposite side and discredit our gut instincts and our intuition and our heart, right? You gotta have them all working together in communication with each other. The divine communication with Venus and Mercury. All the love is being communicated through all aspects of your body, right? Freely, and there's no blockages going on, or there's not any kind of suppression of one and accession of another, right? It's the balance. Balance. Don't overthink. Good time for meditation. I'm discovering that every time is a good time. Every day is a good day for meditation. All of these things that we're talking about are really tools and skills that strengthen in the practice of meditation naturally. You don't even know you're doing it, but it's just a natural byproduct of you having the discipline to be in the present moment. And that's what meditation is. It's being like, regardless of what's going on in here, I'm just going to sit here with it and be here with it and allow it to go through its drama, its melodrama, and crazy, insane dialogue. If you really just sit and just let your mind go on and on. If you went out on the street and heard a crazy guy saying all the things that you think out loud, you'd be like, that's a crazy person. If that's the case, and if that's what you think, you're like, that's a crazy person. If you heard someone else speaking out loud the thoughts that you think, that is the hard truth that you may need to come to terms with this week, is the fact that, yes, indeed, nothing that you are currently doing is in alignment with what is best for you. Your thoughts, your actions, your behaviors, the way that you respond to people, none of it is possibly in alignment with your true self. And you'll know it because you'll be extremely miserable, and you'll most likely be blaming other people for your problems and your life circumstances because you truly don't feel like you have any control. That's what this feels like. When this is reversed, you feel like you're out of control and you have to blame other people and you have to, put the responsibility on others. Because if you put it on yourself, that makes you responsible and you truly don't feel like you have that kind of control. So that's just like even more maddening to accept something like that when you don't feel like you have that control. So maybe a big thing this week is to understand, in what ways do you feel like you are out of control? Where do you feel like you're most out of control in your life? And anytime we're out of control, that truly it means that we can't do anything about it, right? It means that, and it's a limited belief. It's not true at all, because you're an infinite creator and you can make anything happen. You made this happen, so you can make something else happen. I promise. It's hard, I know. This is going to be a challenging week for us. It's going to be a challenging week for me. We're going to do the work, though, and we're going to come out of it a whole lot stronger and a whole lot wiser and a whole lot more compassionate for not just ourselves, but the people around us who we may have been, not been thinking too many good thoughts about lately because they've been triggering us. Anytime you get triggered, you just feel defensive and you feel not safe. But when we get to the nitty-gritty details and we find the core belief behind what triggered us, we see everything in a new light, and we can see the person who triggered us in a completely new light. We almost see them as this gift that was able to show us some really icky stuff within us that needed to go away. Because the only way that it gets taken care of is if it comes up, if someone brings it up in you, right? And then you can have so much more compassion for that person who you once were very resentful towards. And that, my friend, is the highest form of wealth. Your inner peace. Ha! Cool. So that's the tarot card of this week, you guys. Honestly, that's it. We have the Queen of Swords and the Three of Michael. These go so well together. Guys, please do a meditation with Archangel Michael this week at some point. Just look up something on YouTube of a Archangel Michael meditation. He is the angel of protection. He is going to literally, like, you get into that meditative state and you invite Archangel Michael to come into your presence. You will all of a sudden begin to embody this feeling of just somebody, a very strong presence holding space for you to just let go and surrender and let whatever gunk comes out of you come out. Like, this girl could be crying, she could be like have snot everywhere, she could be throwing up and all over the place, and Archangel Michael is just like, girl, let it out. This needs to happen. You need to come to terms with this. And if purging is the reaction to you actually discovering the reality that you're currently living in and how it's so opposed to what you know is where you should be and where you could be if you actually made decisions in alignment with what's best for you, there could be a little bit of a process of just like breaking down and just being like, holy cow, how did it get to this? There's a lot of heavy emotions in this week, I feel like, and it's a lot. And so Archangel Michael is just a beautiful angel who you can call on, who just gives you this sense of it's okay. You can finally let go. Stop feeling like you have to be everything all at once when really all you want to do is just kind of come apart right now. Do it. Do it. You can do it. It's a safe space. And only good things can come out of it. So, I thought about actually reading. I have this oracle deck, or oracle book, and this is from Elliot Oracle. I really admire his interpretation of the tarot cards. I feel like he's He gets the nitty-gritty details of just about anything, especially a lot of the stuff that I feel like a lot of people miss. So I really admire his work, so I just thought that I would read his entire description of the Queen of Swords, because I just feel like it's so empowering, and it gets to the meat, the true meat of what the Queen of Swords represents, and how it would feel like in us if we were to embody her in our day-to-day life, okay? Then we can say goodbye together. The Queen of Swords, personal authority. The Queen of Swords symbolizes bringing order to chaos through clarity and our personal boundaries. She is also an archetype that does not apologize for her right in having a place at the table. The Queen of Swords stands up to her bullies and all societal pressure. She questions the legitimacy of all structures and rules that do not make logical sense. She keeps an eagle eye, so I'm pretty sure that this may be actually an eagle in the distance because of how he mentioned that. I don't know if it is, though, an eagle eye. I think eagles do represent wisdom, though, don't they? Don't they? She keeps an eagle eye on maintaining her strength, her integrity, and her personal authority. Are you uncomfortable with setting up boundaries with others because you might look mean? Is your career path in harmony with your authentic self? Is it difficult for you to stand up to the pressure of what others might think of you should you be or do who you are or what you want to do? The Queen of Swords gets a lot of bad press. Teal. This is because she is not a docile, submissive, or objectified woman. She's too powerful to be minimized by mindless societal roles and conventions. She uses her sword to cut through the hypocrisy of others' assumptions concerning how she should act and what she should be. She knows that if she bows down to the demands of what others want her to be, she's selling herself short. She places strong boundaries because this is how people and organizations become healthy and grow. Fuck yeah. She's a master of transforming the energy from victimhood to being victorious. Look at her butterfly crown. She commands respect because she has respect for herself. The Queen's cloak is decorated with clouds. She protects herself with her mind. The head on her throne represents the queen, how she lives in a world of ideas. However, even she will eventually have to contend with the awareness that occurs below her neck. One solitary bird can be seen flying above her. She often prefers to go in alone. And yet the frown on her face shows what prolonged isolation can really do to someone's mood. Even our modern society still seems to have a problem with women exhibiting their intellectual leadership. Early on, we are taught that women should be likable and selfless, rather than strong, powerful, and ambitious. Women who embody the energy of this queen are sometimes ostracized, despised, and ridiculed for no other reason than, I just think she's a bitch. No wonder this queen isolates herself. Oof. However, some of the best rulers in history ever produced were some strong women like these, like Queen Elizabeth of England and the Empress Catherine in the Great of Russia. Whether you're male or female, the Queen of Swords appears to reacquaint you with your own personal authority, your strength, and power, and intuition. You may also need to be more self-disciplined or create some much-needed boundaries. Don't worry about being liked as much as being honest with your true self. Speak up and solve present issues and problems. You are strong and you are capable. Do not apologize for your strength. Do not apologize for your power. Do not apologize for your authentic self. Own it. Own it. The Queen of Swords can also represent a person who is direct, capable, and extremely intelligent. She may not exude the softer qualities of other queens. However, she is offering you a very practical counsel. Listen to her. Queens can be mature individuals of any gender who wield strong feminine power. And that's the tarot. And the angel card of this week. Ha! This is it. Here we are, my friends. Thank you for being here. Avec moi, with me, we have the Queen of Swords and the Three of Michael, encouraging us to deal with our bullshit, basically. And see reality for what it really is, instead of maybe projecting a fantasy onto how things could be in our minds and just not really coming into our power. Now is the time to do that, more than ever. Have you developed a meditation practice yet? Have you done it yet? Let me know. You better say, McKay, I'm finally doing it. I'm meditating every morning. I want to hear that from you. If not, we're not there yet. We got to get there, fellas. Okay. Thank you guys for being here with me. This was a lot of fun. I'm so glad that I did this. Honestly, this helped me kind of, just come to terms with the reality myself of the current circumstances of my life, honestly, and just kind of, wow. That was very, very healing for me, actually, because I did develop somewhat of that objective perspective and realizing that we're all going through this collectively in different ways. It's just happening to us in ways that are the most triggering to us personally. Unfortunately. So it's going to show up differently in other people. So just be aware that like everyone around you might just kind of be in a very sensitive state of just, we're recognizing these hard truths in ourselves and we're doing our best to make the most out of it. So just have a lot of compassion for yourself and others right now as much as you can. Really think about the Empress. Try to, when you first wake up in the morning, think about how she wakes up in the morning, just dedicated to truth and dedicated to doing what's right, always, what you know is best, and what is going to, in the future, help you cultivate structure and love and have all the things that you know you deserve and are worthy of. So it's a wonderful time. It's a very powerful and emotionally turbulent time, and there will be tears. There will be probably a lot of screaming and crying and asking why, but guess what? That's how you find answers. So never stop asking why. Just keep asking every time. Don't ask the universe, though. You gotta ask yourself, okay? Because if you just ask why, then you're not even asking why, actually. You're in resistance, so you're not even in that state of receptivity of actually asking the question, why? See what happens when you approach it from, instead of a sense of like, oh my god, this is fucking horrible, and being like, what is going on here? Really get curious about it. Get to know yourself. There's nothing to really be afraid of. You don't need to be afraid. Anytime you bring something to the light, the shadow just disappears. Alright. I'm gonna go. I don't know what I have to do. I have to eat. I gotta nourish my body and probably do a little bit of exercise, and then I might do readings later tonight at a later time. We'll see. I think I'm gonna be going over to somebody's house with my mother. I don't know. We're gonna figure it out. Anyway, you guys don't give a single fuck about any of that. I know. I might be back later tonight to do tarot readings for you guys. We'll see. I'll keep you posted and updated if you'd like to get a free reading for followers. We always have lots of fun. I'll keep y'all updated. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you got something out of these cards. Please, if you're watching this on YouTube, I want to build a community of people who are like-minded. I'm fine. I'm ready. My soul is ready to have people who are as obsessed about this as I am, because it's lonely. It is very lonely to not have someone to geek out over it with, you know? People just want to watch your boobies bounce all over the place with long blonde hair, right? Whatever. Here we are. It's a crazy week, you guys. Meditate. That is the biggest thing. Meditate. Life is the crazy external circumstances that are going to be occurring in these next couple of days are going to be so much more easy to manage if you are meditating. Trust me. Trust me when I say I love you, baby, and if it's quite alright. Listen to that song. It's a beautiful song, actually. Not that song. I didn't even realize, actually, but that, you know that recent song? It's a cover. I found the original song recently, and I love it. So, I'm going to go listen to that because I feel like it, and it's going to put me in a good mood. So, I'm going to go do that right now. Love you. I love you, baby, and if it's quite alright, I need you, baby, to kill these lonely nights. I need you, baby.